Mixtape.
The classic mixtapes.
Doing the mixtape thing.
Let me drop a mixtape.
Oh, mixtape.
The mixtapes.
This is the Art Behind the Tape Podcast. Hosted by
This
DJ Mars and Bril Ndiaye, covering the spectrum of the mixtape culture.
Yo, what's going on, world? Art Behind the Tape Podcast. We're back with another episode. My man Mars.
Yeah, man. How you doing over there, my man? Brilio. It's the summertime. We rocking out.
Yes.
ATL's in here real heavy. We got a big guy inside the building.
Yes.
Pause. What we talking about today, man?
We got Detroit native, of course. We represent the D. What up, though?
What up,
Clark
though?
Atlanta alum as well.
CAU.
Yeah.
Hip hop connoisseur, collector, whatever you want to call him. You seen the hashtag NuFace was here.
Now he is here.
Now he's
Now
here.
it's official.
It's official now.
man.
My man
NuFace.
NuFace is in the building.
Man, love and respect. Thank
sir,
you guys.
yes, sir.
Man, what they said, man. I let the people talk for me. Come on,
That's
man.
what's up,
So,
man.
look, yo, everybody got a new face is here story. I got one, right? I mean, I got several, but I got one that's super funny to me. So it's Clark Atlanta homecoming. It's the year or so right before COVID, and Clark Kent is spinning. Me and Clark Kent hop out the car, right? And out of nowhere, now, yo, I'm always aware of my surroundings, always. Out of nowhere, yo, NuFace pops up with the whole Clark Kent situation. He got tapes.
Junior Mafia, get money.
But the ill thing is, I always ask you this: where did you come from? B? Like, because I did not see you until you stepped off the curb.
Over there by Opera. What's that parking lot?
Did you know that we was pulling up, or you was
No,
just?
And that's what I tell people. Like I used to always be like, I'm gonna be late. Man, maybe about 4 years ago, I just stopped stressing because once I got there, it was when I was supposed to get there.
Right. Period.
And my timing has been impeccable, so I never would be like, oh, I'm running late or I'm gonna miss this. Like when I get there, it was always the moment. And I remember that because of that fly ass jacket he had. Like I always remember why stuff what people wear, and I'm like, oh, that's Mars right there.
Yes.
And then I'm like, oh yeah, this is my moment. I ain't even got to worry about calling nobody because
Right.
we going in.
Right,
And I got
exactly.
the autograph out the way, so I'm good. Like I ain't even got to work now.
Gotta love it. Gotta love it.
The funny thing about calling, because me and you, I feel like me and you, we got on a rhythm. Like I would hit you Thursday, yo, New, where you at? You know we doing such and such tomorrow. Yo, I'm gonna get there at 10:15. You know, sometimes like you tell someone to roll with you and then they're late.
Right.
You're never late.
Never late. Nah, he's always on point,
Yo.
always on time.
Now when is my access in?
Right.
Yeah.
And I know all my friends are DJs, so I know, or host or comedians, so I know once they're in their bag, that they doing their shit. And I never take that personal, like, cause I know you can't answer your phone.
Right.
And there's probably 30 other people
Hitting you up.
hitting it up too. So then that's where I'm like, I gotta use my me.
Right.
Like, cause they working.
Right.
So I know, hey, I'm gonna always be there. Get the call.
I got my NuFace story right here. I don't know if you remember this. One Music Fest a couple years ago. We was DMX last performance.
Took the picture with me and my mom.
Yeah. His
Yeah.
mom's was there watching DMX. He was right in front of me. He's like, yo, I need this picture right. I was like, NuFace, it's not a problem, man. Come on, man. You the man.
Yeah. And I'm holding up the CD.
Yeah.
DMX is behind us. Me and my
Crazy.
mother. And this guy right there
Yeah.
in that picture.
Yep.
Man, and then that happened. And that's the one picture I'm like, I'm glad I had that moment with my
You
mother.
had that moment.
And my man took the photo. That's
sir. Yes,
classic.
sir.
So I remember you had I had asked you a few years ago, like how you got into collecting, and I don't even want to paraphrase it. I really want to hear from you. I mean, you have viewfinders from the 70s/80s. You have concert tickets. Like, what in you made you say, I'm going to hold on to this?
My grandmother. I'll start with my grandmother. So she had clothes, fashion. So I remember my cousin was going to a prom and it was like, it's old school night and we got to dress like the 60s or the 70s.
Right.
And my grandmother was like, oh, go downstairs and I got all the pans here. And she was like, everything that's new and everything y'all young people got has already been out before. And I know it comes around. So I was like, oh. And so I was like, she was like, that's why I never throw anything away because everything old becomes new again. And there's this circle. And that stuck with me. And my auntie was like a shopper on the HS shopping network. So she would always buy things. But, you know, she would just buy them. But there was kind of no organization.
Right.
And I was raised, my father went to the Army. So I was raised a little bit different, like making your bed, flip the quarter, my hangers, one finger for each one. So while I was a hoarder, the neatness in me and my OCD was able to put it in an organized state. So that's the whole never throwing anything away came from my grandmother. My father taught me about organization, but my father was the first one to take me and my cousin to the mall after school to a spot, and he bought us the Adidas tracksuits. 3 of them. He bought black with the 3 red stripes, the T-shirt, and the shoes, the shell-toe shoes. Not for me, him, and my cousin. And I thought, oh, I'm gonna be fresh as hell tomorrow at school, right? Like that was enough for me. But I'm like, no. He's like, then we went to Joe Louis Arena, and so that's in the rent. The last time I've been there was the circus. So I'm like, maybe it's some circus or something. Maybe some kid shit because it's cool. But I get in there, it's 3 white boys on stage, and we're gonna fight for our right to party. And so this is Beastie Boys. Then the next gentleman is just him sitting on the radio. This is LL Cool J, right? So then all that happens. Then it gets to the part where there's Run DMC. And then there's this part where they can say, anybody got Adidas, take your shoe off and put it in the air. And I'm like this 6-year-old kid, one, looking at everybody doing that, but not clicking mentally like, oh, I have Adidas. I can do that. And I can be like these people. And these people were not just black people, because there were white people in there, Hispanic. So I connected hip hop like, oh, this is like some secret society, or this is some cool shit. Because prior to that, I was all comic books, G.I. Joe's, toys and everything. Like so that was the moment where the hip hop was like, bam. So Yo MTV rap cards, all that came into play.
So hip-hop. At that moment, that concert, or prior to the moment, your father taking you shopping, did you know you were going to? That was probably the Raising Hell tour, maybe.
No, that was Fresh Fest.
Fresh Fest.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you didn't know?
No, I didn't even know where we were going, because again, that arena was. I always went for the circus or the basketball game. So I'm thinking it's one of those. That was my first ever show.
Was you into hip hop before then?
No, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I was a kid. Like I was 6 or 7.
Wow.
So I cursing and all this stuff. Everything was new, and adults and my cousin looking at beautiful women, like, and my father looking at them. I just remember things like that. Like, oh.
Got it. That's ill, man. That's ill. We all have our touch points, with hip hop, like where we entered the stage, so to speak. At what point did you knew that hip hop was something different. You knew the gear, the attitude, the energy was different. But when did you say, I'm going to hold on to these pieces and not let them go?
I seen the excitement, so I would take stuff to school, right? So I remember being the only one in the school with the Chronic tape in high school. I remember being the first one with the purple tape. I remember taking the Source magazine to school where Redman had the tissue in the nose, and me passing it around and everybody getting a chance to read it. And so I felt cool, like, because everybody had and everybody knew I had it, so that I felt like the man almost, like.
Yeah.
And
you
so,
were,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, and the teacher is like, "What's going on over there?" And or I may have to take that, but that instilled in me like, oh, this is like a cool thing. So if I keep all the cool stuff, I'm gonna be that, so I embody cool, and I've been the same way, since then. And so that's when it clicked for me. It's like, okay, I can just be the hip hop kid, and I was always the one. I was making little mixtapes at that point. I was listening to the radio, recording with all that, with that whole LL Cool Mo D. I was the next day in school. I got both songs on this one tape.
So you literally been like a walking history book from day one.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Yeah, most definitely.
That's dope.
High school, middle school, really. Because prior to that, I was like Simpson. I was drawing Simpsons on the shirts, iron-on shirts, black Simpsons. But then when Naughty by Nature came out, I started making those where you make a hat from the sleeves. You cut the sleeves off, then you put the little string, whatever Tretch was wearing. I was
sock hat.
Yeah, so I made those type of things. Then the medallions, X-Clan came out, and the medallions were cool, so I started making my own one of those. So everything like hip-hop, I was like a reflection. I was taking them to the school, and they were like, oh. And if I felt like I was cheating code, because I was just learning from hip-hop and taking what I learned, take it to the school. Right. And it was all new to them.
But Detroit had a hip hop scene. They definitely did.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Give me the Detroit hip hop scene at that time.
Well, so it was two sides to it. So we had a DJ scene, but our DJs played these songs like Jit, Jit, Jit. Elevator up, elevator out. I beat that bitch with a bat, and we were dancing to it. So
House music, kind of like.
house music, that type of thing. It wasn't until like I remember a Drunken Master out of Detroit were making songs like, cause he was the first one that had hit him up on the mixtape. So it was like we had it, but it was like two sides. Like Detroit had the east and the west side. So it wasn't when I got on the west side. That's when it was like I was able to find these DJ Clue tapes and things like that. So it was definitely had a scene. And I lived across the street from the hip hop shop. Maurice Malone's hip hop shop was on 7 Mile. I stayed on Rutherford. I would walk there, and he had a sub shop next to him. But I remember going in there like a Proof or the Royce, the 5'9", Eminem. They would freestyle. They would do battles in there. So I went to buy a shirt one time, and then imagine you go in there and you see Proof and Eminem. But I didn't know who these people were at the time. By the next time I got to Atlanta and seen Eminem again, he was in the Up and Smoke tour at Lakewood, Fort McPherson, opening for Dr. Dre.
Crazy.
Crazy.
So those full circle moments were like, but in Detroit laid the foundation for that type of thing.
So you laid out what it was like for you, 6 years old, junior high, high school. Now you're in Atlanta in the mid-'90s, and we had this off-camera conversation about what Atlanta was like. And I remember the AUC, especially at that time, was the launch pad for a lot of people's careers. So you're in the middle of the AUC. Stuff is coming around, Outkast, Goody Mob, that era. Camp. Are you saying to yourself, yo, I'm gonna collect everything is gonna be important? Like, are you actively hoarding at that time?
No, well, I was always buying music. I was that one that if music came out on Tuesdays, I would always go to the record store every Tuesday. So that never stopped once I came to Atlanta. So when I came to Atlanta, I remember going to Peppermint and West End, DBS Sounds, and Camp Records. Later in the West End when they moved down by Q Time. So I was always ending where there was one in Greenbrier too, a Peppermint as well. So I was always buying the music. I wasn't into the autograph because this was school and CAU, so I was still focused on school. So I wasn't into the autographing, but I always bought music on release date and bought Source magazines, Double XL. I was always buying, that type of thing. So I've always done that. And to say the transition from Detroit to Atlanta, I tell you that story is, it was a college tour. Shout out to Damon Williams. He was in mass media department. So they had these collective of people called the Detroit Clark Atlanta Alumni, where they recruited people from Detroit. So he came and he told me all the things that he was doing. He was filming videos for Fabo or D4L, Shorty Low. Like, he was already in the industry, but also in Clark. So he was telling me, well, if you come here, this is what I'm doing, and I can, just put you in the room and you can learn around that thing. So I went on a college tour where they took us to Morehouse, Spelman, Clark, and everything. So I came down here on a college tour. Then they had a break, and they had 2 hours break. So they like, you can go around, do whatever you want to do for 2 hours, then report back. So I'm like, I'll hop on the MARTA. I'm just see what's going on. This is in the middle of Freaknik.
No.
What year was this again?
94.
The best Freaknik.
Exactly. So that's what brought me back. That's when I said, because it was really in college, but I knew I had to tell my family I'm coming back for college. But what I seen on that MARTA bus, in those 2 hour spans, brought me back in 95 and enrolled in CAU.
Wow. So, Bril, what year did you get to Clark?
Came in 01.
Oh, okay.
I missed the whole Freaknik era.
You missed the whole era. For some reason, I was thinking you guys were here at the same time. So the era that you were here, parties had, you remember the big posters that would be on in your collection. Do you have some of that?
Yeah, I have them. Well, so if they used to have album release parties, or shout out to Earwax, Jazz, if he had giveaways or album release parties, he would have the posters up. So, and I still have those. Some of them in the Trap Music Museum, but I always collected those because I used to make clothes. So those billboards, so if you paint clothes, you had to put something in between it. So that was the real reason for it, but I just never threw it away. And so I still have it. So if you're going, I was like going to garage. So all of them. So those posters, you would see pieces of paint or just remnants of the paint on them. So I always collected those billboards as well.
Got you.
So, okay, so you're down in Atlanta. It's 94, 95 Freaknik era. That's kind of like sort of the end of the King Edward J era. Smurf is still making moves.
Raheem the Dream,
Raheem,
Camp,
obviously Jelly. So the mixtapes in Atlanta are starting. Well, not starting. They're moving crazily.
Yeah.
What did you start your collection, your Atlanta mixtape collection at that period?
I didn't know because it was still new to me. I heard about the whole era, but I was still on the DJ Clue, and like I was getting those tapes, New York DJ Envy, Enough, Cap. So I was still on my Detroit, you know, catching up with the New York thing, and I was in the heart of Atlanta, but I didn't know those people. I just, you know, I didn't know it until I found out about Camp and Jelly and where I can the source for those things because I just didn't know where to go, and I used to go to 5 Points. Once I found, I just needed a plug for the mixtape. I didn't know where to go for that, you know. But once I found out, Camp was the first mixtape that I bought.
Let me ask you, rewind real quick. What was the first mixtape you remember buying, even in Detroit? What was the first mixtape you remember buying?
Oh, Drunken Master, Summertime Shootout.
Wow.
First tape. He was the first person to hit him up on a mixtape too.
Hit him up with the pop joint.
Yeah, Tupac. Yeah.
Wow.
Drunken Master. I remember that name too.
Yeah. He was DJ out of Detroit.
Wow. So okay, you got Drunken Master in Detroit. Your
DJ Lynn
influence-
Swan, 12 Tech Mob.
So were you into electronic music?
Techno, dance music, house music.
House music, yeah.
Got it.
Most definitely.
So you got all that going on. You're influenced by like you name some pivotal names: Big Cat, rest in peace. Enough, Clue, Envy. That's New York. Then you're in Atlanta. The beauty about being in Atlanta and being from somewhere else is you take your experience from wherever that home is, Massachusetts, Detroit, LA, right? And then you bring that to Atlanta, and then you influence other kids because we're all in a dorm together, sharing our experiences. You're from a very cool city that people want to know about. They want to hear about it, right? So you're in Atlanta. You're teaching them just like you're teaching us about Drunken Master and whatnot. But then you're also learning, and that learning, I'm sure it's adding to your mental library, and it's adding to your physical collection. So I know you got that's a soft toss to your collection. I know you got some stuff.
Oh
in the
yeah.
bag.
So even like you said, collecting. Once I came to CAU, shout out to Brawley Hall.
Brawley Hall, MOB, baby.
Fourth floor Brawley Hall.
Ooh, me too. I'm
second floor.
Fourth floor, man.
And since I'm here, I'm gonna just switch hats. You know.
There we go.
This is, you know, mine. I don't know how many people have this one. You know, with the, you know, I gotta let him. Y'all know about this one.
so they can see the situation.
Come
in the
on,
back.
man. Yeah, I mean, you guys would know more than me, but mine came with the book delivered by my dog Maurice Garland at a Run of Jewels concert at Masquerade. I felt like a superstar. He said, "I got your book with your hat autographed already." Like,
yeah. First of all, we gotta thank you as well because some of the images from the book, the mixtapes, we got from you.
From this guy.
Came from this guy right here. So big shout out to you as well.
my brother came all the way out to Fayetteville.
Yes,
man,
I came
went
to the
into
crib
my
and got-
dungeon. Come on, man. So first of all, okay, we talk about early mixtapes. So when we talk about what I was buying in Detroit, so 12 Tech Mob, right?
Wow.
This is DJ Lynn Swan. So this is what they look like in Detroit. You go to the flea market, and they would be like that.
Where was the flea market located? In
Greenfield and Grand River, a shopping plaza called Mammoth. Mammoth Flea
Mammoth?
Market. Mammoth, like
So,
big.
I'm looking at the playlist. Dirty South Goody Mob, but it says box you some, but it's really get you some. Remember that was in there. Too Short
Yeah.
and Eric Sermon, the Shiznit, Mac B Dog Pound, Any Last Words, Pistol Grip Mix, 1-800, Crook, Scarface. Whew. So this was you
Our
would
famous
consider
Detroit DJs.
yeah. This is like
Those
a
were our
gangster
DJ
sound.
clues, yeah, or dramas, that type of thing.
Yeah, the Funk Rama, Redman, Tonight, Crisscross, Cali Love, Tupac and Dre, Let 'Em Know, Easy E.
And you see, and it wasn't like a Detroit base. It wasn't like, you know, all Detroit
Right.
stuff. We were a melting pot. I was able to be exposed to an E40, MC8, Spice One, all these. We were getting it all.
Yeah, that's what
Chicago,
everybody said.
Detroit was the melting pot.
That's what everybody says about the Midwest. You guys took from the West. You guys
Yeah,
had your
we didn't
own.
have a side. And then we had our
The South,
own
yeah.
breed, and you know what I'm saying? And so this is the tape I was saying, Drunken Master. And look, he started out with a tape with Nas, Bugsy, and Foxy Brown. But the second song was Tupac, Hit 'Em Up. Then we got Smooth the Hustler, Keep On by MC Light, Mike Geronimo. This is Detroit. Like Janae and Busta Rhymes, It's a Party. This is when they first came out.
I got this over here. Akinelli, Machiavelli, Big Legit, E40, Shaq and Biggie, Redman and K Solo, Richie Rich, J. Rue the Damager, Foxy Brown, Raekwon, just all over the place.
All over the place.
West Side Connection.
But you said something. You had said something about sounds, right? Sonics. We're talking sonics, and you're saying the West Coast sound. The ill thing is the West Coast sound is a Midwest sound. All of those groups Ohio players and all of that
Brothers
came from the Midwest. So it was really
Zapp and Roger.
Yeah, exactly. It was really a Midwest sound. It just got adopted by the West, just like the James Brown sound got adopted by New York. So it's interesting. I could see where you could geographically be in the center. And
Plus, we were still going through this. Clue. Clue was still making an imprint, so I was always buying the Clue. And I tell you the special thing about this Clue tape right here called Desert Storm 1998 El Nino, right? So if you open this up, the second song is a freestyle. It says Fabulous Sport featuring Noriega.
I was running radio, Hot 97.
This is Noriega's first time freestyling, first time rapping.
Period.
So
And Fabulous too.
and just because I'm me, like, so mine's assigned by Noriega.
Yeah, this guy right here.
So just so maybe you got this tape, maybe you got it, but it's yours signed by Fabulous and Nori.
Yeah, we gotta put that on the camera.
Come on, man. So like you got that one, but it's yours gonna have that.
Shout out to Nori and EFA,
Yala,
man.
FABO. Come on.
Yo.
And then we got joints. Come on, we got Trendsetter Sense. Part not volume 8 and 9. Well, we at number 2.
Number 2. Trendsetter.
And we talking about mixtapes, eras. We got Drama and Jeezy, Trap or Die, right?
That tape right there.
Let's see if he knows what this is. This is called Hotter in July.
Oh, me and Bobby Black.
Okay.
Yo, so sneaky.
Okay, let's see.
Yo, he's so
we got
sneaky.
Presents the Glamorous Life. Let's see.
Drama.
Okay.
Yo, you want to test the champion?
Right.
Then we got another one. See?
Sis.
Mine's, you might have a
Living in the
DJ
streets.
Sense tape, but is yours signed by like Monica and Sense,
Nope.
right?
Listen.
Come on.
I have that tape, and mine isn't signed by Monica. How about that?
Affiliates. The funny thing about it is, if you look at the name of their label, it's called Generation Now, but it started because he named his mixtape.
series.
This the one with
Generation Now. Kanye West.
Kanye West and Joe Budden's on the cover. I remember that one. I remember that.
Another one, DJ Sense again. Rhythm and Streets 2.
Since we're gonna sell you your collection back.
Yeah,
Right.
right.
For real talk.
Anything that was lost in the fire, NuFace
I got it. Look at that. DJ Drama. Little John.
Signed. I know Drama's calligraphy on his page. I mean, on his artwork.
This is a special one because this is T.I. and
mixtape.
Drama's.
PSC in the
Now
streets.
you may have this CD, but it's yours signed by Tip and DJ Drama.
No, you don't.
Right. Then we can do that again. We got PSC again in the streets. Drama.
Pimp Squad Circle.
This is right after he got released from after I'm Serious.
We got C-Rod and Country King signed this one, right? Shorty Low. We got, I'm the man. Shout out to DJ Scream. Great
Shorty Low.
mixtape.
We gotta get Scream on the show too.
DJ Scream. And another, DJ Clue. I always kept, even when he transitioned, I always wanted to buy cassettes,
Right.
but he converted, so I had to convert. So I got the DJ Clue. Shout out to, who was Street Sweeper. R.I.P. K. Slay.
K. Slay.
Look, and this had Mace, Cameron, Old Dirty Bastard, Haters featuring Memphis Bleak and Noriega, The Union, Big L, McGruff, Trick Daddy Dollar. So it was always, we got Clue, Stadium Series, another Clue, The Ruler's Back, the actual album.
Yeah, my first mixtape ever.
And I brought those in particular because, it started from that, but these were like the trendsetters, so you got Flex. And
Which
them
Flex
doing
is that one? Which one is that?
the 60 Minutes of Funk.
Funk. Yeah. He was
Volume
getting
2.
on Loud
Right.
Record. He was getting busy. on that.
And shout out to Atlanta's Underground. We got DJ Jamal, Afromatic.
Can I see that? Can I see? Listen, people, listen. In terms of, there was two guys. There was this guy and there was Drama, Jamad and Drama. In terms of breaking neo soul on a mixtape, it was these cats. Like this is probably This is Green Lantern level production on a tape. Like
Yes.
DJ Juice level production on a tape. I probably listened to his series and drama series more than anybody else's series at the time. This, listen, this, I'm gonna tell a story and I'm gonna get back to that. I was in LA, I was on Melrose, I forget the name of the store, and I walk into the store and they had, remember I said that word, had. They had a whole section of DJ Jamad mixtapes in LA. So I go in, I asked the owner, let me get one. And he's like, yo, I'm sorry, we don't have the whole collection. This is what he says to me. And I saw him too. He said, Justin Timberlake just left and bought the whole collection. This is in LA. I called Jamad. I'm a fan. I'm a fan of my friends. I called Jamad and said, yo, I'm in a store on Melrose. Remember, this is when Melrose was popping.
Back in the day.
I'm on Melrose. I just left the store. It was across from Sporty LA. Yo, Justin Timberlake just came and bought your whole collection. Crazy. That I had to say that. Give my man.
So was
Big
that
shout
on
out
the
to Jamad.
so let me and just time frame? So was that a payphone or did you have a box dope boy?
I didn't have the dope boy,
Nah.
but
You
I
had a flip phone?
Yeah, probably had a flip phone.
Okay. We trying to
Flip
generate.
phone.
And then this is part 4 of the Glamorous Life. So let me ask, how far did this series go? This is part
Yeah,
4.
that's
This
me
is
and-
part 1.
This is me and Drum. Probably 5. So the Glamorous Life series, me and Drum was doing them, and this was before his Gangsta Grills. This was like the
Head honcho,
R&B
he called it.
The head honcho. We all had nicknames. That was probably, I think we did up to 5, and it was our version of like R&B hip hop party joints. You know what I mean? The Glamorous Life. That's what you put it in your Benz and you ride out up and down Peachtree, top down. That's what that was.
Then we got, then we go into the era, DJ Drama. Signed by Drama again, Gucci. Again, another infamous tape. We got Down with the Kings,
King,
PSC.
classic.
And again, what he said, right? This is before Gangsta Grills. This is, look, 50 Boss. 50 Boss Entertainment. DJ, I said, who number is this?
Hold on, do you know who the 50 bosses were?
No.
Yo, it was Grim. I call Grim. That's he's Tory
Tory
now.
now. Tory.
Atlanta influences everything.
indeed.
Sponsored a drama tape.
Yo. Shout out to Tory, man.
Yeah.
Heavy.
Head honcho. And
Wow.
And what you know about these series? It was Fader Magazine. They did a whole series. So this is one of the dramas.
Yo, listen, this tape right here. So when I go into drum's history, I want to go before Gangsta Grills because that's easy, right? To explain to you how dope of a physical DJ this guy is. This not a lot of DJs could do this sweet 903. Shout out to Rob and the whole Cornerstone Fader crew. This tape, you had to actually have the DJ because that was a mixture of house music and neo soul. So you had to know music. So this is when Drum was mixing, like, because a lot of mixtape DJs were making tapes, but they weren't mixing. Yeah. Him and Sense, roommates over in the Old Fourth Ward, I would be in there, and he's doing, doing his 1-2 thing. That's probably one of my favorite tapes from that.
Listen to the DJs on here. Rich Medina, Sean B, Beto Garcia. I'm not naming everybody, I'm just naming some people. DJ Spinner, Jamad, Drama. Wow. This is some of the DJs on here. I'm not
some of them. And I think that was before Mark Ronson did his, because Mark Ronson's name definitely should be in the middle of that conversation.
Cornerstone. So shout out to DJ Clark Kent. So that was
remember
one.
those.
And this is DJ Nasty, but look, this is an early
DJ Khaled.
DJ Khaled. Early, right?
Yo.
And this came with 2 CDs.
I remember that.
And then if we talk about mixtapes, but remember just to bring about the transition of how they went to DVD. So these were considered mixtape DVDs.
Right, exactly, yeah.
Because it was like next song. So you got the Smack, and you got that one. And mine was signed by Little Meech and J-Bo.
Man,
Like,
you gotta put this one back up there so they can
see.
understand the history.
Tell them about Cornerstone.
Yeah, the history right there. Yo.
Open them up. and it was just so pristine. Like it had the cotton to protect it.
Right,
You know,
exactly. I got a couple of those.
Like it was like this wasn't regular mixtapes where it just felt different. Open them, and then when I seen Clark Kent getting that Sprite, and like I just knew he always did it big to me. Like, and that was they had a remix for Sprite, and he was the ambassador for it. You know what I'm saying? So these were always special to me, man. But this was just in my mixtape bag, and it's not even all my mixtapes.
No, clearly.
Real quick, these 3 DJ Cool mixtapes right here, these were actually in the book. These are the ones we actually used for
Those
the
are
book.
the ones.
These are the ones we used
got from him.
We got from him. I remember these.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that boy came to the house and was like, I'm gonna take this, and that's how it was for Trap Music Museum. Shout out to them. I got 4 calls. Like, there's no way they can do the Trap Music Museum without NuFace. Can you bring some stuff up there? And I'm like, that was easy. Like mixtapes, how for you? I knew where to go. My shit is organized. Oh, Trap, that's easy. You know, that's Tip, Jeezy. You know, it's easy. Loaded my trunk up. Me and my daughter went out there, and I put out Tip was there, and DL Warfield. They was setting it up. It was still an empty spot.
Right.
Laid it all out. They like, wow, you really were there, because back then I wasn't building relationships with artists. I was in line, getting a CD, purchasing it, getting it signed, and next. Maybe I had somebody I always kept a disposable camera. That's why I said even before Instagram, I was always doing this, but I always had a camera on me. Like
you showed us a picture real quick of you at the Outkast signing.
Outkast,
96, 88
96, getting a cassette single. I always had a picture or a camera, because this was the thing. So in Detroit, I would tell these stories, right? And nobody would believe me. I just started realizing that nobody would believe me, because I would say I was with so-and-so, and he's lying, Larry lying, like Larry,
same thing
Larry the
back in
liar.
LA,
Yeah,
college,
Larry the liar. So this was my answer to that. So I always had a camera, and if I ever met anybody, I would just take the picture. So if you just think I'm lying, and here's my proof. So I kept receipts since college, really.
Right.
So that was the reason for that.
Clearly. So, all right. So you got Larry the kid.
Mm-hmm.
You have Larry the high schooler. You have Larry the college student. When did and how did NuFace come about?
So going to New York yearly with my girl at the time and my daughter. So I found out about how they used to sell clothes in the fashion district, and it'd be like FUBU, Aniche, Coogee, all the name brand clothing, right? You can go there and you get them at a discount price. Right. You know, so I would go there to New York and buy a trunk full of clothes, and I would bring it back to Atlanta. So it's a play on words. New from New York, and I was new in Atlanta, and I'm the new face on the block, and that's because I was trying to work on Block ENT. So I would always say the new face on the block, and I would tell him, I put you in my tag, and we eventually built a relationship because of that. So it worked, but it came because of that. So I recognize the new face on the block. That was the business cards, but it had pictures of the clothes that I was selling. So if you call me on my flip phone, I want to get that Coogee outfit, meet me here. So I would pull up and do that. And then once I stopped making those trips to New York, I had a house fire. And so I lost everything. And you got to think, I'm a Detroit guy. So like fashion and clothing was like my life. So I lost everything. And I didn't want to stop that from me going outside. So I would go to the Goodwill and buy clothes that I can kind of put a new face on. So I would put some paint here, write a little message here, and a star here, some rhinestones here, make my daughter a matching shirt. I put my birthday on the back, so people would say, where'd you make that, or who made that? So I started making clothes for people in the community, and then I would just put the NuFace logo that I had from my business card and put it on the shirt, so I would draw it on that. So that's where I became NuFace, but it started from art and clothing. Gotcha. Because I painted too. I went to CAU for art and design. So I started as that was my artist name. So I just kept it with the NuFace, and that was my name. And I really didn't like the way Larry rolled off my tongue. I was a junior, so it came with the territory of my father. But because I never, when people ask me what was your name, I hated saying Larry, and because they always mispronounce it or say it different to me. So I would just be like NuFace. Or I would spell it. I would always. That's what I used to find myself saying. Larry. I never said it. So
you disliked it that much?
Yeah. I just never said it. I would spell it.
like, yeah.
I just spell it. So that's where the NuFace came from. And then it went from clothing. And then so I would make some of these clothes for local comedians, K-Dub or Carlos Miller. All the comedians that's like popping right now, their first time on stage, they were probably wearing a NuFace shirt. Nard hosting in a Ludacris video, Georgia with Field Mob, there was a NuFace shirt. Little John and Nivea and Youngbloods, there was a NuFace shirt because Bishop of Crunk was snapping in the shirt and the shirt was NuFace and you would see the logo on there. So that's where it kind of stemmed from that. And I just used those relationships since I'm with them. Oh, it's a video shoot tomorrow? Youngbloods? Okay, let me get the Youngblood CD that just came out. Right. And then you would meet a Kawan Prather there. You would see that and I would just take note of it. Even if I didn't speak to him, it was a mental note like, oh, that's LaFace. Oh, that's Parental Invite. Okay, that's the CEO. That's the DJ. That's their security. Like, oh, okay. So when I'm out again, I just seen you at the video shoot and just slowly, cause I didn't know what it was for, but I just wanted to at least be friendly because I knew in Atlanta, it's really a small city, and I seen people do bad by other people, so I kind of wanted to reverse that and have like positive social currency and be, cause if you did do something wrong, you're gonna see that nigga like in visions or Kaya, you're gonna see him. Like, so let me at least be, if you see me, you're gonna be it's gonna be a happy thing. I never wanted to be like, oh, here he go. Here go Face, man. He gonna and it's funny because like Tip is probably one of the ones that's the funniest because I'm always gonna have something for him to sign. He was like, oh, how much stuff do you got in mind to sign?
A lot.
I was like, I could keep going, but that's how I'm in. It's like, so it's like showing love. So let me always show love. Because I never asked for anything. And then it's been moments where I had this shit on me and I was like, it ain't about me, or the moment is better than me, than me digging in the crate and getting an autograph.
So your social currency is on $1 trillion right now. Like, it's almost, I'm gonna ask you about the hashtag, but the hashtag NuFace was here. Like, it's almost like if you have something and you don't have access to him, which is the reverse of the way it used to be.
Right.
Him having access. If you don't have access to him, to have him in your space and document what's going on, you're not in the loop. It's no longer, he's not in the loop. Like, because we could talk about Strength of the Woman Festival. Like it, again, you don't know where he's going to turn up, but he turns up at the turn up. And he turns up and he takes the right pictures, the right pieces of content, and he posts it and he shows love. Like the fact that he has, we're talking extravaganza, DJ drama. Like, he has this and he's had it.
Bought it from Marcos Peter by Stiegels. Like, that's what I told him. So when you talk about me buying it, because it wasn't a mixtape spot, but there was a mixtape there. So I bought it and I'm at CAU, but this I literally bought. You see how old this is? This is the original. This is no reissue. And again, and how it flipped too is now people have said it. That's how it's taking the name of itself, or because now they're saying it's not official unless NuFace was there.
Period.
And like he says, like they'll have photographers that they're paying. I don't know but real videographers from Getty. And then, but if I tag Drama or if I tag whoever artist or whichever brand it is, they'll repost mine.
Yeah. Right.
And I'm like, you had all the shooters, but it's just because the social currency again, it makes it official. And again, a lot of people be like, we love what you do post, but you gotta think about what I don't post. Like, I've seen, we can be the shade room or I've seen a lot of shit. We in Atlanta. I can be like, I was there when this happened. I don't see any value in that because I'm trying to preserve us. So I want us to be in a good light. Why would I? And then again, here's that with NuFace. I don't want him around because he posts shit like that. Like, so I'm always pretentious of that.
Detrimental.
You know what I'm saying?
To your brand.
We know how people move. If that's your girl today, I don't. I know how to move because I'm that dude. I don't. And now it's weird because now people. I used to can go to spots and plan 3 spots, right? And I plan my exit, and I know the exit door, but I can't even do that now because if I make my moves, that's new. Can I get a picture? I love what you're doing, which I love, but I have to make precautions for that now. For that 5 minutes, just like an artist. Like, now it's the reverse. Now I'm oh, can I get the selfie?
Right.
Like people have been in State Farm is like, man, I know the star right there, but I love what you're doing. Like, and that's helped me with State Farm or the Fox Theater because
Right.
now it's like, it's just me, you know. Oh, it's just you? Yeah. All right, come on. Yeah,
on in.
I got you.
I love how you move because as big as your brand is growing, because you're definitely a brand, you still move like a solo cat. Like
Right.
I don't know who your homeboys are. I always see you solo dolo.
That's how I move, bro. Cause I be out, right? And I be out and I see people in clubs. Cause I love people watching. I love the experience of buying a ticket in the box office, waiting in line, because there's just this community of
Right. Yeah.
and what happens is artists be like, why are you in the line or why'd you buy a ticket?
I've said that
coulda-
to you.
Yeah,
like
I've
why?
seen
But
you
it's
before.
just the fan of me. Even when I'm on stage, I'm looking up there like that was used to be. And sometimes I'll walk up there just to remember that. Cause at the Rough Rider Cash Money Tour at Phillips Arena, I was up there when Lil Wayne came in the helicopter. So it's like the reversal. Like I still love those experiences because it's just the same. So I'm like, let me reverse it. But I still be on the stage like, let me do that. But I don't know if I can get back. So I have this dichotomy of like, where do I go? Where do I do? You know, so that's but I always move solo because I've been somewhere and they be like, who with you? And they be like, oh yeah, it's me, my man. And I see the dude tight like, bruh, bruh. Like, so I just want to be like, this
In
is
and out,
me.
this
And then when I'm ready to go, I can leave. I ain't got to worry about nothing. Like nothing. No tab or everything.
Yeah, man. It's a matter of efficiency. It's a matter of respect. It's a matter of being able to move in and out. Because I've seen you in places, and I've seen the difference between the energy. Look, I'm just going to use a mile marker. Let's say 10 years ago versus today. I've seen a difference, and I love the fact that you've grown and you remain the same person.
Humble.
Like
Humble and is loving the culture.
yeah, love.
Thank
I mean, listen, bro. Like, we don't have this, and I'm gonna let you dig in the crates and explain this.
Right.
We don't have this unless you love what the culture is.
So what I'm holding here is Trap Music by T.I., right? And in August, we're celebrating 20 years of trap music.
Of this album,
Yes, of this album. So this turns 20 years in August. 20 years, right? And so again, you may have the trap music cassette, right? But with yours be signed by David Banner, who produced Rubber Band Man, right? All right, and then is yours signed by DJ Tune, who's, proclaimed as the sound of trap music,
He
right?
is.
Yes.
And then the artist himself, signed by Tip, right? And I don't know when this will come out, but I've had this in my pocket and I've carried it for 2 years, because in 2 years ago I was doing this, but I was like, nobody celebrates the 18th anniversary, but in 20th anniversary, maybe he does a show. And I know in every show that I go to, when somebody does a show, there's usually a video montage to celebrate it. I want it to be that. Let me help your brand for thanking, because that's what it is. I'm always adding value, and that takes nothing, and I will charge for that, but it's love.
it's love.
You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? It's
yeah.
genuine love, because to all these people to still be alive.
Right.
Yeah.
First
All
of all,
and
but
working.
but to know the genre, because I always talk about Atlanta. We created not just music, but genres of music.
Trap music, snap music,
Yeah.
crunk. You go down the list.
Exactly, right? No other town can say that, right?
Yeah.
So to have this is like, people always like, what's valuable? Like, to me, this type of shit is priceless.
Right.
It is.
Like my Purple tape.
You trying to get that signed by who else now? Just Blaze?
Just Blaze, Kanye, and Jazzy Faye. All the producers.
Listen, Just. I know Just is my man's. Just, you got to sign this for this guy, man.
My Purple tape. I got the Purple tape. And mine's is signed by Raekwon and Ghostface.
Wow.
And the thing with that is, like, I seen it on eBay and it was like $10,000 for the Purple tape. I'm like, oh, what about mine? It's signed by
Signed by both of them.
yeah, signed by those. Steve Rifkin on the inside,
Yeah.
right? So how much
See,
value is that?
Rifkin signed it too?
Yeah, he signed
Hold
my
on. Yo, you see how he just, pause, he just slid that in there real
Right.
quick.
at
like,
his birthday. It was his birthday party. Jerry Clark, shout out to Jerry Clark, will always have me in the building for something like that. And so when he said it's Steve Rifkin, I'm like, Loud Records? All right. Pun, 3-6, David
Mob,
Banner, Mob
Dead
Deep, all,
Prez.
everything, but Wu-Tang. So I brought all everything, and Havoc happened to be there. So he's happened. So Steve Rifkin is like, oh, Havoc, look what he has. So I'm sitting there like,
Right.
marker.
Yo, you
Fumbling.
need to be endorsed by Sharpie, dog.
We talk, and that's the other thing I'm manifesting too. I want to create the first brand, the competition to Sharpie, a black-owned marker brand, you know, and I'm the perfect person for it, you know,
Right.
because I've reached out to them and with no feedback, and it's all love because I still need them. But imagine if I created my own, and that's what I plan on doing because, you know, what's the alternative? Like, imagine them. It's only them.
Right.
Since I've done the research, they got the monopoly, or you can go to the dollar store and they have the shit that don't work. But I want to create the alternative. So they say I want to create that. I've already came up with the name. So anybody want to help me
Can
manifest
you say it
that?
on air?
No, not yet.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. But I have the name of it, and I can't wait because even Jack Harlow, a new artist, his last album cover, it was him signing an autograph, holding a Sharpie marker. So imagine wrestlers, they still do, you know, your boy from Star Trek, you know, all these old, they still use those type of things. So it's not, but I can do the hip hop part. But imagine how big a fraction of what Sharpie does, right? You know, I'm not trying to take their market share, but it's giving me my piece, but a black owned version of that.
Dope.
Larry owned version.
There you go.
There
See?
you go. NuFace.
Yeah.
NuFace own.
There you
Yeah,
go.
NuFace owned.
There you go.
So you're collecting everything. I remember one time I saw you. We were at this comedy show. Carlos and them.
Oh, Valentine's.
Valentine's Day. We were way up on the super north side, 400 north. I didn't even know there was a club
Me
up
neither.
there.
And I've
for
never
us to
been
be-
there since. I don't even know
Yeah,
what it
that
was
the last
called,
day,
bro.
dog. Yo, you had on this red UGA starter jacket. Blew my mind. It was all red, black letters, white border.
Original.
It said Georgia in a semicircle. Remember what I said to you? I was like, dog, where did you get it? He said, I had it. Like this is he
original.
didn't just buy it off of eBay to
Yeah.
wear it. No, he said I had it. And it looked super fresh.
On Valentine's Day too. And funny story, like again, my relationship with Starter right now, I'm a brand ambassador. Shout out to Ty Mopkins. I put their clothing on like a Jeezy, a tip
Everybody.
he's wore it on stage. But again, Ty Mopkins told me, you know, you'll never have to buy another Starter jacket in your life, right? Because years before I even knew him, Detroit Starter, that's art. I've seen people get threw off a Bobolo boat for their Starter jacket. I've seen people get shot for them. But I used to hustle and sell, you know, take the bottles to the store for the little money and collect it. So I bought Starter jackets, and my hard-earned money. And I had like a good 3. But once he seen that, and plus that post with me, and because I always tagged him, even back then, even MySpace, or you know, I was always trying to connect with brands and let them know, hey, it's me, I'm supporting. Maybe it wasn't even for free shit, but maybe you'll put me on your page, just you know, that type of thing. But now you look at my room now, I had to buy those traveling hangers thing because I have so many Starter coats, and just from other brands too. You know, other brands, like, because they know that I'm out, they know I'm gonna put it, maybe give it to somebody. So my blessings are in abundance because of that social currency that you speak about. But it's a real thing. These things are not just coming. It was a real alignment. Starter, he told you, and from that moment, like
I remember it. Though. I remember it was. I'm laying out the colorways: red body, black letters, white border.
I remember you hitting me about it. He's like, yo, where did NuFace get this jacket from? Like, it's a UGA jacket. Like, yo, where did you get it from?
And see in my phone, I can just pull out the picture, right?
Oh my God!
See, I can just
show the people.
I can just say, you know, I can put February 14th because that was a Valentine's show.
day.
I think
That was
did
a
I take a
day.
picture with Mars at
Probably.
that?
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's right when he said it. He said, yo, that jacket, son. That's DJ Mars was there, man. The Valentine's show. And even that, like, this is what year? This is
That's like maybe 10 years ago.
2017.
Wow.
And again, all my guys, but Carlos was the one that I've supported from the very beginning. So to see, this was in the 85 South show in Valentine's Day. So just to think, this is 2017. They brought couples out, and I know him, so I'm like, this. I love when I see relationships align like that, where it wasn't about me. They magically connected. So yeah, I love 85 South Show, but once I seen Mars was on the flyer, I'm like, oh, I gotta show
there.
up.
You gotta show
That's
up.
why I'm usually there. It's like I'm usually there for the DJ or the host, like a Fort Knox or a Dreads the Beatnik,
Right,
or
for sure.
Sean Fowler, or
Yep.
Kerosene or a Dave Jason. I'm there for that. Anything else,
It's extra, it's a plus.
yeah, it's a super plus. Cause I'm seeing them do they shit, and I'm texting them like, yo, son. And I'm recording it just because I really be, not just even for social media, I be replaying this shit back like,
Yeah, just
yo,
a
that
fan.
transition.
Fan culture, yeah,
like
it's
when
fan.
Mars did it at State Farm and the transition from this and this, and I'm watching the crowd, like I look at the crowd, like I'm like, oh, this shit is fucking.
Right.
I'm looking at the science, like how powerful music is. And that's really the joy for me. Everything the social media is reposting and the access and the Lauryn Hill autograph that night
seen
and the
that.
Mary
You
J.
You got one
Black.
that night?
Miseducation of
Yo,
Lauryn Hill,
'cause
son.
Remember when we
Made
were
my
rapping
move.
about
Soon
it?
as she got off the stage, I
How
followed
did you
her.
do it?
Soon as she got off the stage, follow her. That's what I always do. Follow her. And I seen she was open because she walked to the side and she was doing this, and I'm marking her hand. I got so many shirts with markers because I open it just because I got to make it so quick.
just in case.
But then I seen her walk back, and I was like, and she's like, yeah, I got you. So if she say, yeah, I got me, I always just trust you.
Yeah.
So we walk back, and she's walking back. Mary J. Blige comes out, and I'm sitting here like,
Heaven.
and I see them do the hug and the thank God and you're so great. And I'm watching this moment, and then they do their pictures, and then it was my turn. Then no, Lauren had to do something, so Mary waited in the hall. But it's Misa Hilton, it's AJ from I again, these faces I know, like reading the credits. So I'm like, oh, this is all her kids. Zion, the one she sang about.
The song is about.
So I'm like Mary J. Blige, and I had all the Vibe magazines, and I just do this. Like,
What?
I'm like, she's like, I got you. I said,
Mary signed it.
signed
Sad.
all three
This
Vibe.
is-
Yeah, she signed Vibe magazines, all three except one. She's like, this the one. This the one where I almost beat that girl ass because of what she did to my hair. Like, so every time I pull out, I love hearing like these, like Trina. She talked about when I pulled the magazine out with her in the pool with Trick Daddy. She talked about, oh, they wanted to show my, like I always get that, just that gem.
Stories.
Yeah, and that's again the best part. The autograph is just part of the process,
proof.
but it's the memory I get right there is my nostalgia is what I call it.
Nostalgia.
Yeah, that's what.
Yeah, I know you're going somewhere with that. Like, I know you're
That
not
was-
just throwing that word
That was
out
the
there.
name of my exhibit, nostalgia.
Oh, yeah, the one downtown.
Downtown, but nostalgia exhibit coming soon to the Rock the Bells cruise. November. They're going from Miami to Bahamas November 13th to 17th. Lineup includes Big Boy, Big Daddy Kane, MC Light, EPMD, Little John, many more, LL Cool J. But the nostalgia, my collection will be decorating this whole boat.
So, hold on. Yo, hold on, B. So this is happening?
Yes, November 13th to 17th, the Rock the Bells cruise.
The sold out Rock the Bells.
Sold out as soon as they posted it.
Sold out.
And again, let's talk about social currency. So as soon as they announced that, and I said, oh, because again, LL Cool J is my first rapper I ever seen. I was on a live with him,
I remember I seen
giving
that
him a
video.
tour, and I'm
Yeah.
doing this. My hand is shaking because again, this is my fucking
This is
hero.
LL.
This is LL Cool J, and he's show me what else you got. What other books? I'm giving him a tour of my house, and he says, I'm gonna get my people in touch with you and your team, and I want them to lock in with your gram because you got some shit over there, right?
Right.
So he says this, but when that cruise came out, I'm like, oh, I need to be a part of this. So I put Nostalgia logo with the Rock the Bells Cruise logo. I said, tag LL Cool J and Rock the Bells. Please, NuFace has to be there. And that post, I got to find it because that post is really what did it. People like Little John, R.I.P. Gangsta Boo was like, it's only right. T.I., Lou Will. I get a DM from Bun B. I'm going to get you in contact with him. Then I get in contact with the guy from Rock the Bells. He happened to work for A3C, so he's familiar with who I am.
Right.
He tells me, LL says, are we getting NuFace because they blowing up my Instagram? This is him telling them that NuFace's supporters,
Are
that
blowing
cost
him
me
up.
nothing. But I'm looking at it, and other people are looking at it too. Like, who the fuck? Like, people that don't know me.
Yeah,
like,
right.
I feel like I reached not the ceiling of Atlanta, but I've locked, I've locked it
people know
down.
who you are in the
So
city.
my goal is to kind of expand this to at least another city to go somewhere. So when I went to the Rock the Bells Fest, but that post alone, it showed me like how priceless support is, but also how free it is. That cost those people nothing.
Right.
But to see like a tip in these blue checks before it was verified and you can buy your blue check, that comment section was full of blue checks saying it's only right. It's no way y'all can do that.
Without this man.
So again, to those people and everybody that commented on that, thank you. And that's what I do it for, us, this culture, us. I can't do this without no artist. I can't do this without the marker. I can't do if y'all didn't create this. And I know I always say about the fan, but I listen to these artists while making these shirts. So this is my thank you to them. Like, so I would if I was doing a shirt, I would do an art piece on the sides and give it to Rick Ross at the album release party. I would give it to Killer Mike, The Pledge, or Big Crit. Like, so this is my thank you. I can't pay you what I think you deserve, but I can give you something of value to me.
Which is
love.
Eternal.
Facts.
It's eternal. So if you had to ask, I mean, not if you had to ask, if we had to ask, me and Bro had to ask you, in terms of your mixtape collection, who do you have the most of in your collection? It looks like you got obviously a lot of sense, a lot of drum. I'm sure you got a lot of. Who wins the race in your collection?
Probably DJ Drama.
Drum.
Because the first always buying it because he was the first one, and then of course I lived in Brawley. You know, those guys were next door. Like
you was in the dorm same time?
They were in the cafeteria DJing. When I remember they were sharing $150 to DJ. So I would see them eating my breakfast DJing. Wow. My roommate was DJ Yogi, who worked for WRFG. So Jama would come over and I would just be in my room. But I'm like, this is huge. You know, like this drama's at my house, like or our house. You know what I'm saying? And so I've supported him all the time. And then in West End, when the bootleg craze, and you can buy these CDs for $1. Going crazy.
Crazy, yeah.
Yeah, so I would say Drama and then Camp, DJ Jelly.
We had
tapes.
Jelly on the show. Yo, the history that Jelly got.
Yeah, bro.
He is ATL. He is the ATL when it comes to history.
Yeah, man.
And when I did my nostalgia, there was an exhibit for Camp because it's no way that I could do that without them. And he gave me those big leather jackets with Camp on it. He gave me the plaque for when they made #1 for Walk It Out. So that type of thing.
Wow.
So yeah.
I mean, bro, I'm just looking. Was it Smack DVD?
Come Up DVD. Like,
yo, remember when it went from mixtapes to this? Like you know, the Hustler Cats would they had the TVs in the headrest. And they would put this in there.
Put that on and ride out.
Yeah.
You had them, and then what about the guys? I always said it. The guys that would drive around with porn playing in there.
Yeah.
I never got that.
I never got that, but they did it. I'm like, who is that for?
Right.
To show you that they can do it.
And remember, you had a fruit man, and he sold DVDs, right?
Man, yo.
Pineapples and the shit. And so I was in heaven, like. And so I had a store in my dorm room. I don't know if y'all knew this. So
definitely did not know
so
that.
The 4th floor. So I worked at Kroger. My first job was Kroger's when they first opened. Cascade. They opened. That
was your first job?
My first job. I worked in the registrar's office, and the second job was Kroger's. I was a cashier. So I would buy stuff from there and end up walking because there was no more Martin when I got out. I would walk to my dorm
to the West End?
to there with my big K. Yeah, my big K pops. Sodas, whatever y'all want to call them. I call them pop. And then go to and set up ramen noodles, blunts, lighters, chips, the variety packs, paper, BDs, incense, everything I had in my dorm room. And I had a Nintendo. PlayStation. I was the only PlayStation. I had a girlfriend. I told her I went to jail, right? Because back then, college wasn't cool.
Where's the story going?
College wasn't cool.
Right.
College wasn't cool. But I was
for
like...
some people, it's cool for us.
Yeah. It's cool. It was cool, but I told her that I was in jail or on a vacation and I just needed something to play. So she got her tax money. She sent me a PlayStation. So I hooked it up in my dorm. So NBA, all those. So my room was like always like... The kick it room. I didn't have a roommate. He didn't stay around. He went to the Army or whatever.
I had the same way. My room was from Atlanta.
I had a whole room. So my room, and then shout out to my guy Phil Pascal, because one time I left and I trusted people or whatever, but I came back and he gave me a cup full of money and he said, "This is what you made while you were away."
So he was charging people to play.
He ran the store. So just because my store was open, like he could have said close or he could have took the money or whatever. But to my friend to this day, but that type of thing that sticks out to me when people are real like that. Right. But I hustled out. I hustled. My room never closed. Store hustling. Wow. And I rented out my VHS. I had tapes. I would rent DVDs. VHS.
Yeah.
I had Khalid Muhammad's son was a roommate. I had it was a bunch of people. They knew I was the dude.
That dude.
I was dubbing tapes for people. I had my Sonic boombox where you can dub tapes, and I rented out VHS. I had the first. Look how stupid this was. I was spending money so stupid. So I had the first DVD. Anybody want to guess how much I paid for this DVD?
Please tell us.
I need at least a guess.
$30.
I wish. That's how much they are like now. $700 at Best Buy, bro.
For a DVD player.
A DVD player.
Oh, okay.
A DVD player. Yeah. Like when they first came out.
Yeah.
Like the
big joints,
Yeah, and before that, because I knew it was coming out, so the prior week I spent $300 on just rebuying like the Scarface, the Friday, just restocking the classic joints. So when it came, but in my head I'm like, I fucking spent $700 on a
Yo, because
DVD.
you know when technology first drops, it's wild expensive. It's wild expensive. Mm-hmm. So listen, man. I mean, we could talk forever. We have to bring you back. Right. We have a concept for a show. We talked about. We don't want to give the farm away, right?
Gotcha.
We have to bring you back.
I can't wait, man.
Like, there's a space for intelligent hip hop conversations.
Yes.
And your conversation is filled with history. It's filled with hustle.
Actual collections.
Yes.
Actual pieces of history.
Like Brilio, we got to bring them back.
Definitely.
I can't wait. And I wanted to just say thank you for what you guys doing. The book, just what that meant to see my name again. I read credits, right? Mm-hmm. And I can't tell you how many times that I pulled that book out and went to that page. It's like, you see that right there?
Yes.
Contributor. Like, and that manifested me to do, like, continue what I'm doing because I always just wanted to be acknowledged in a credit or a book or something. So that meant so much. I told so many people. That page probably more than any other page. I had a bookmark to that. So I wanted to say thank you, one, for even putting that out. And secondly, thank you for including me in it. But also just being real gentlemen in this culture of ours. You've reached out to me and given me things. Your access to our phone calls, just answering your phones, that type of thing. It means the most to me, and I just wanted to say personally thank you. And shout out to this podcast, bro.
No doubt, man. So, listen, man, me and this guy, when a superhero movie comes out, it's either I'm texting. Sometimes we'll be at the same theater at the same time.
Oh, yeah. I've seen that. Yeah. We've seen each other.
Yo, he'll hit me, I hit him. Yo, what'd you think? Like,
thoughts.
Last one was Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yep.
We have in-depth conversations about
text.
We are the coolest superhero movie geeks on the planet.
And he surprises me because he's a world traveler. And then I say, did you check it out? He'd be like, yeah. I was like, yo, when do you have time for that? Like how people say, how do you be? I was like, yo, son, you was just in LA and Dubai and shit. When did you watch this whole Netflix series, son? Like I asked him about Moon Knight. He's like, I think it was Moon Knight. With Netflix it's different. And I'd be like, how do you do it? But he answers the question, and I'm like, oh, yeah, he watched it.
He watched it.
He watched it.
Thank you as well for supporting our movement as well, the Art Behind the Tape. You dedicated, gave some mixtapes for us. I mean, you talking about DJ Jelly mixtapes, DJ Cool mixtapes. We needed that, and we couldn't get that with nobody else but someone like you. So we thank you for that as well, man.
Yeah, man.
Team.
Yeah, man.
That's what hip-hop is about,
Listen,
right?
Man, the Art Behind the Tape podcast series, DJ Mars, Brilio, and my man NuFace.
Was there. It's official now.
Detroit in the building. What
up,
though?
Beautiful.
Mixtapes. The classic mixtapes.
Doing the mixtape thing.
Let me drop a mixtape.
Oh, mixtape.
The mixtapes.
This is the Art Behind the Tape podcast hosted by
This DJ.
DJ Mars and Bril Ndiaye, covering the spectrum of the mixtape culture.